Jean-François, if it's okay, I'd like to start off with a story that I know nothing about. We were just asking each other, this war on Christmas that came up in the National Assembly. What's this about?
Well, late last month, the Canadian Human Rights Commission, which is an official body of the Canadian government, issued a brief on religious intolerance. And in this brief, they clearly stated that an example of the fact that religious intolerance is rooted in colonialism is that the holidays of Christmas and Easter are a prime example of systemic religious intolerance. So that's an official body appointed by the federal cabinet, giving advice on a number of issues, including legal advice in some cases. And so I read that it's a brief report. I was struck first by the fact that there is no mention that there is, of course, intolerance towards religion, but within some religions, there is intolerance towards other religions and towards non-religious people. This just does not exist in this woke headquarters, my characterization. And so it was the first time that an official body of the Canadian government was saying that Christmas and Easter were a colonial, systemically intolerant towards religion. So the Quebec government decided to table its CAC proposal to say that nothing will impede Quebec to celebrate Christmas, which is a holiday that rassemble, and everybody voted in favor. What struck me is the abysmal ignorance of the Commission, because although it seemed like a Christian holiday, in fact, Noël, which means birth or rebirth, is an ancient pagan celebration of the day when the sun starts to shine more than the days before. And so it's simply a recuperation by first Judaism and then Christianity, some Chinese as well, of this cosmic phenomena. Mm-hmm. And you can really state that whatever Christians say, it is a universal holiday. And, our Santa Claus was first based on a Greek philosopher pre-Jesus Christ that was generous. And our current Santa Claus was created by Coca-Cola,
yes,
not a church. And even the Christmas tree was a pagan tradition from Northern Europe pre-Christ. So there's nothing, religious about Christmas except for those religions that decided to adapt it. So really,
I mean, it is laughable. The very notion that Christmas is racist, to me, is laughable. However, we are dealing with a government that hasn't handled things exactly gracefully in the past, right? We know that Legault wished everybody happy Easter, didn't wish anybody happy Passover. I know in this particular incident, Christopher Skeet was saying in Quebec we celebrate Christmas. Well, you celebrate Christmas, Mr. Skeet, but a lot of people don't. They celebrate Hanukkah or Christmaka or whatever, right? So this government doesn't exactly have a great history of being inclusive, Jean-François.
Well, that being so, Christmas is the date when the families gather in Quebec in a massive majority. It's an open, and some say too commercial now. And I think it's okay to react to a federal body that says nonsensical things. Whatever you think about
Agreed.
the CAC's other policies, there's at some point, when there's a characterization of culpabilization of what some people, most people hold dear, you should say stop.
Okay.
I do agree.
Well, let's say stop and move on to something else then. We talked a little bit about the La Presse story, suggesting that the CAQ is going to back away from its decision to double tuition for people from out of town. Looks like it's going to be a 33% hike now, at least from those from the rest of Canada, whereas international students will still have to pay a rather outrageous amount of money. Even today, Jean-François, Pascal Derry did not back down. We keep hearing the same thing. Oh, it's financial, it's half financial, half linguistic. I'm just curious what you make of this. Are you expecting, when they make an announcement next week, that they will in fact back down?
Well, I'm expecting that they will back down somewhat. I'm not sure they'll back down enough, and they'll make as good a deal as they could. You know that on the foreign students, the 20,000 floor is not as in itself a problem, because most programs charge more than 20,000 as we speak. The question is, how does this revenue is redistributed amongst universities? But for the Canadian students, I thought, and I told Natasha, maybe you were out finding someone to marry, so I'm not quite sure. I didn't follow all the steps. And congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Aaron. The fact that the universities offered to give French classes, compulsory French classes, to 40% of their non-francophone students, for me, it's a major offer. It's major. And I wrote in a column in Le Devoir that the government should seize that, forget about the hike, in exchange for 100%. Just go all the way. Give them money if they can get 100% that know French at the end of the first cycle, and that's a tremendous news. So at first they seem to discard the university's proposal out of hand the first week. This seems to indicate that they're moving somewhat. My hopes are not up that they're moving enough. I think financially, the measure for English Canadian students is, non-consequential against the linguistic gain that we would have in having all people having a diploma from Concordia and McGill fluent in French.
Well, we'll see what ends up happening next week, whether you're right, it'll be a part retraction or just fully retracted. We'll wait and see. But it's interesting, to what you just said, Jean-François. Here's McGill saying, here's what we're going to do. More French, people will learn it. Yet the government is not even satisfied with that. It's not enough unless it's all the way for them, it would seem. So I don't know. I'm not so sure we're going to see much of a retracement here.
They can't have both.
Yeah, well,
they can't have more French than the offer of the universities and more money at the same time.
Yeah,
they have to choose.
There you
and
go.
I'm telling them, choose language.
Okay.
I think you're right.
Jean-François Lisée, thank you so much. Appreciate the time today, as always.
Thank you.